Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Lower School New Parent Information Night. I am the director of the Lower School, Robin Nichols, and it's an absolute honor and pleasure to welcome you into our Husky community. Not only am I a member of this family, but I'm so excited that you are officially part of our family as well. So, what is this evening about? It is about really providing you with pertinent information to ensure that you and your child have a very seamless transition to the Flint Hill community. So at this time, I'm going to turn off my camera and we are going to prepare for our presentation. So this tile is going to be very familiar to you for the next few months as you prepare for the transition. This is known as our preparing for the 2022-2023 school year tile, and this is located in Husky Hub under resources. In this tile, you will find so much information regarding transportation, aftercare, lunch, and it's very important that you check this regularly throughout the summer for updates. As you will notice when you click on this, there will be links that are not activated. And there'll be particular months in which those dates or those links are activated. So it's very important that you check periodically to make sure that you have all the information that you need. So what to expect from the lower school? What will you expect from me as the director? What will you expect from Megan as the assistant director? And most importantly, what will you expect from our lower school faculty and staff? Well, the first thing is we really dedicate ourselves of knowing every single student, not only by name, but really understanding who your child is individually. We commit ourselves in creating personal relationships with every single child in the lower school. The most important thing that I love, or one of the many things that I love about Flint Hill, is that we truly meet students where they are. There are schools out there that have high level of expectations and expect the students to rise to that level without any priming or without any preparation. Well, we're the complete opposite. We meet the students exactly where they are because we want to value each and every student. It's all about making sure that they feel they have a sense of belonging and they are officially part of our community. And a way to do that is to meet them where they are, whether they have ongoing supports that need to be in place, whether they have extremely high passions in particular subjects, and we want to channel that. Wherever they are, we want to meet them. And then once we create a very safe and loving environment, not only in the school, but in the classroom, then we can begin to build their trust and then partner with them to raise the level of expectation so they can reach their personal best. Notice I said their personal best, not the best. There is no such thing as being 100% or being perfect, and we don't advertise that at the school. We want students to be comfortable in who they are and to be proud of who they are. Next thing you are going to expect is very clear and effective communication from me, from the school in general, from our headmaster, from your teachers. We want to make sure that you are part of the process of understanding where your child is academically, socially, and emotionally. You will never be caught off guard. You will always have a heads up of where your child is in regards to academics. You'll always have an idea of what's going on with your child socially and emotionally from your teacher, and most importantly from me. And I love to connect with families. There's a misconception that the principal only reaches out when something's wrong. I'm kind of the complete opposite. I reach out when things are going well because I also want to build that relationship with you. So we are all about intentionality when it comes to building community here at Flint Hill School. This is a catchphrase at the lower school, and it's known as making the learning visible. And this is an opportunity for you to have day-to-day interaction and getting a snapshot and a full view of what is going on in your child's classroom every single day. You may say to yourself, how do we do that? We use an online portfolio application known as Seesaw. And this is an opportunity for teachers to post activities that are happening in the classroom, discussions that are happening in the classroom, to have opportunities for students to reflect, to kind of record themselves reflecting on an assignment or an assessment and how they did and what they did well and what they can do better the next time. We also focus on home learning, which is different verbiage that is used in public school. In public school, they advertise more of homework. And we look at home learning as a way to reinforce what was learned in class. We feel that the students' best learning takes place in the classrooms at Flint Hill School, and not to have the pressure of completing an insurmountable amount of work at home, especially for parents who are still trying to figure out how to do these particular activities. We want the basis of the learning to take place in the classroom. So when they come home to you, it's more of a collaboration with you and you asking them questions about their assignment and what went well and what did not go well, that it is a constant conversation between the two, moving away from those closed-ended questions such as yes, no, it was okay, maybe, to more open-ended questions, and that your child is engaging in thoughtful conversations with you. We definitely want to make sure that we are providing inquiry-based learning. So that means that we are really providing opportunity and spaces in the classroom for students to ask the why. We are all about the why here at Flint Hill. So anytime a student has an assignment, we're not really the type of school, we don't have any worksheets. So please don't expect any worksheets, because you're going to see many of the assignments will either be on their iPad or they'll have other activities that they need to do. We're not into rudimentary work, so you won't see them coming home doing 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 math problems. And we're really not concerned with how fast they do it. We are really focused on the process of learning, helping them understand to be deep thinkers, independent thinkers. And we really also want them to understand why they are learning this. What is the purpose of this? At other schools, you'll see that they're focusing on the product. They're focusing on, my child needs to get an A in all of these assignments. I remember when I was in school, my focus was to get an A, but that was my only focus. And if you ask me 3 days later what I learned from those assignments, I didn't learn anything, because my goal and objective was just to memorize and to output. Here at Flint Hill, we really want to make sure we focus on the process of learning, and that students do not receive grades until 7th grade. This is developmentally appropriate, and we have found that in the earlier or the younger grades, students tend to be very hyper-focused on the output as opposed to understanding the process. Last but not least, our iPads. Students receive an iPad in grades JK through 6, and this is used as an academic tool, not as a consumption device. So the goal is not for them to be using their iPads unless it is academically related. A way for us to prepare students for that at the beginning of the year is that we incorporate our digital Husky promise to the students, and we also have many, many weeks that we incorporate to digital citizenship. So we're not just offering them an iPad, we are really setting the stage and the tone for our students to understand the why behind their use of the iPad and what it means to be a responsible Husky in using the device. The importance of play is baked into our schedules every single day. You will notice when you receive your child's schedule in late August that there are two schedules or two kind of classes that are baked into their schedules. So you'll see a morning break, you'll see afternoon recess. This is very, very important, because this guide kind of totally supports our buy-in with meeting the whole child, that we're not just focusing on academics, we are focusing on the social and emotional growth of every single student. Play is very, very important for students, and it really helps them to really understand and differentiate between play and academics. We cannot expect students to sit in a classroom for 6 hours without any movement. The brain needs it. Neurological research states as such, and we want to make sure that we incorporate that into our day-to-day interactions with our Huskies. This also supports physical growth and motor development, along with cognitive skills. So preparing for a smooth transition, what can you do as parents? Well, the first thing is we also need to understand that where your child is right now in this school year, they may be excited about attending Flint Hill. I hope they're excited about attending Flint Hill, but I'm sure there's some reservation and hesitation. The uncertainty and the unknown of things tends to cause some stress and anxiety in students. It could be as young as the kindergartners all the way up to rising 6th grade students. And what we want to do is to recognize that and acknowledge that. And the best way to combat that, since this is something that is out of their control, as far as being able to understand which teacher they have and how many students or classmates they're going to have in the class, and how their teacher is going to be, and if they're going to like the school. And there's so many unknowns and unpredictability. that raises the stress. And what we want to do is we want to diffuse that. We want to remove that. And the best way to do that is to maintain those family routines at home. That is where the predictability comes in, and that is where the comfort comes in. So we also want to make sure that we're keeping the changes during this transitional time for your child as minimal as possible. If we start adding more things on, or drastic changes going on at home, that's only going to exacerbate the stress and the anxiety that many of them are probably feeling at this time. It's also extremely helpful to really acknowledge your child's feelings. Like, sit down and talk to them and say, when I experienced this and I moved to another school, this is how I experienced it. I was a little nervous in the beginning, but it turned out to be great. I've met great friends and I had an amazing teacher. Or however you would like to interact with your child to kind of, again, diffuse the stress and anxiety. But it's really helpful that you acknowledge how they're feeling and you own up to it. And you say, you know what, I can see that you're really upset. And that's okay. Let's talk about it. And then also, of course, always keeping a positive attitude and reassuring them that everything is honestly going to be okay. Again, what can you do to prepare for this transition from the school standpoint? From the school standpoint, please, please, please check that resource board regularly throughout the summer. It is really important that all of the health forms are completed, and not only completed, but uploaded well in advance. If we do not have the health forms by the start of the school year, we will be unable to welcome your child into the building. So we want to make sure we have all of those documents in place so your child can start with us on the very first day of school. Obtaining textbooks is extremely important. This takes place in July, and this is where free shipping happens. So make sure that you're checking, again, the title in regards to textbooks as well. It's really, really important to keep up with the weekly information, not just from the school as a whole, but also from the division. I send pertinent information regarding the socials and the coffees. I send videos. I have a newsletter along with the middle and the upper school every Wednesday that is released at 6 p.m. The school gives out push pages for pertinent information as well. You'll have emails from me. You'll have emails from the teachers. You may have phone calls from the teachers. Please check Seesaw regularly, because your email account will be connected to your child's account. So every time they upload something, you will receive a notification, so you stay abreast of what's going on. In the older grades, grades 4 through 6, as we know, those students during that time developmentally, they want to feel a part and they want to be included. And one of those ways that they want to be a part of, feel a part of something and included, is by having a cell phone. This is very popular for students around this developmental age. They don't want to be excluded. You may hear your child saying, but everybody has a cell phone but me, and I have to have a cell phone. I will say that many parents are on both or either side of the fence. There are some families that offer their child a cell phone and others do not, for multiple reasons. Please feel free to do what's best for your family, but we do have very high expectations for cell phone use here at the lower school. Students are not allowed to use their cell phones at any time during the day, not even during carpool. If there's any way or any opportunity that you need to get in touch with your child, we ask that you contact the lower school office and reach out to Donna Holiday, who is the assistant of the director and the assistant director of the lower school. CommonSenseMedia.com is a wonderful resource to really make sure that you have an opportunity to sit down with your child and provide some expectations and some boundaries in regards to appropriate cell phone use. Again, we have our Digital Husky Promise, and we also have our digital citizenship program that we offer students at the beginning of the year, and we do pepper that throughout the year as situations arise. But it is always very helpful that you partner with us to make sure that there are expectations set at home, that students are not on cell phones at late hours of the night, that there is a space in your room that you're able to monitor the phone while they're sleeping, because students do have a tendency, if the device is in their room, they will be on the device till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I know this because the students share that with me very innocently. But we all know developmentally that's where they are, but it's also not helpful for them academically as students to only get a few hours of sleep and then come to school where they're tired, they're agitated, and they're not able to be their personal best because they need rest. Last but not least, the partnership is incredibly important. This is the relationship that I have with you, that Megan has with you, and you have with us. You may notice that Megan and I will be calling you the first 3 or 4 weeks of school. This is not to say that anything is wrong. It's just a way to welcome you to the community and for us to begin that interaction. Please don't ever think that you're bothering me. You email me, you call me anytime. Want to make sure that we are establishing that relationship and strengthening the partnership as much as possible. Ways to build community. Please make sure that you check the April 20th newsletter from Admission. They have a list of links of ways that you can register for the upcoming socials. School store shopping, there's free shipping throughout the month of May. So please make sure that you get some Flint Hill swag for yourself and for your child. Every Friday in the lower school is a Husky Pride Day, where students have an opportunity to wear any type of Flint Hill attire. Building the partnerships. Again, make sure that you check that newsletter April 20th for the socials. Our virtual Hopes and Dreams conference. I have to say, this is one of the most important events for parents that we offer here at the lower school. This is an opportunity where we kind of turn the tables on the parents, that you won't see the teachers talking so much, because this is an opportunity for you to share with us about your child, socially, emotionally, their likes, their dislikes. What can we expect from your child? What are the ways in which your child will need support? We are really wanting to lay the groundwork with you and setting the stage to make sure that we are starting the school year with every bit of information that we can have about your child, so we can build that wonderful relationship. If you haven't noticed already, everything we do at Flint Hill is incredibly intentional and deliberate. There's always a why, and this is another way to reinforce why the partnership and the relationship is so incredibly important for us at the lower school. The first day of class is Wednesday, August 31st, and our arrival and dismissal times will remain 8:10 to 3 o'clock. So those of you who are new, please make sure that you make those adjustments. School begins promptly at 8:10, and carpool begins promptly at 3:05. Students can arrive as early as 7:30. We also want to make sure that it's very helpful for students to arrive no later than 7:50. This is because we want to provide students an opportunity to unpack, to get settled, to have an opportunity to socialize with their peers. If they come in late on a regular basis, then it's not a good feeling for the student to always kind of have that feeling where they're constantly catching up. Of course, there will be moments where there's doctor's appointments and other things that happen, such as traffic. I know all about it because I live in Maryland. And sometimes I'm coming in late. And I do find myself, if I'm coming in late, I'm already trying to play catch up. And we definitely understand that. But the more that your child can be to school no later than 7:50, you will definitely be able to see how that will yield positive results. We will have details about morning and afternoon carpool. There may be some videos in the preparing tile. If there aren't any videos in there yet, there should be some momentarily. Our lower school program guide provides all the pertinent information regarding the curricula that we offer here at the school, starting in junior kindergarten all the way to 6th grade. So please make sure you take an opportunity to read through that, focusing on your child's grade. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, but you can also reach out to our Director of Studies, Emily Sanderson. Our dress guidelines. Yes, we do have dress guidelines. Monday through Thursday, students are required to wear a uniform, and we have all of those details in the preparing tile in Husky Hub. Again, I mentioned earlier that every Friday is Husky Pride Day. And also, starting in 5th grade, students change into their PE uniform. To make this easier, we ask students in grades 5 and 6 to come to school wearing their PE uniform, because they have PE at the beginning of the day. And then when PE is over, they have an opportunity to change into their uniform as they continue with the day. The PE uniform is simply Flint Hill swag. So you can have a Flint Hill t-shirt with Flint Hill shorts. It doesn't have to be a particular color. It doesn't have to be a particular size. We just want to make sure that it's Flint Hill attire. And this will really help with the transition, particularly for the 5th and 6th graders to middle school. Textbooks and supplies. This is very important as well. You'll see a great deal of this in the preparing tile. All the school supplies we provide, and it's paid for through your tuition. So pencils, pens, paper, folders, all that is, we offer that for the students. The textbooks are required for you to purchase. Again, that information will be in the preparing tile. So make sure that you check on that information periodically so you can make payments or pay for those textbooks when needed. We do ask students bring water bottles to school. We have dispensers throughout the entire all the buildings, but especially in the lower school, we have 2 dispensers on each floor in the 4 floors that we have here in the building. So we definitely want to make sure that students continue to stay hydrated throughout the day. For JK and kindergarten students, we really want to make sure that the students have a backpack without wheels, and we do have our measurements on there. It's very helpful for the JKers, our littlest Huskies, to have a small blanket for rest time, because we do offer rest time for the kids. Also, musical instruments. So starting in 5th grade, students have an opportunity to select their musical strand, whether they would like to participate in band, orchestra, percussion, or choir. We do ask the students to commit to this for 2 years. This is very helpful because if a student starts in band in grade 5, and they want to transition to percussion in their 2nd year, what's going to happen is they're going into a percussion class where all of the students have already had their 1st year of percussion. And so we don't want a student to be an outlier in that way. We want to make sure that every single student who starts in 5th grade has that musical foundation of that preferred strand. And the 2nd year is designated to kind of increase the expectation, and also to have more sophistication when it comes to the understanding of their strand. Now, there comes times and opportunities in which those things need to be changed. That does happen few and far between, I will admit. If there needs to be a change, we do not make changes based on friendship recommendations. So if your son or daughter realizes that their friend is in orchestra and they're in band, we will not make the change. We really want to help students understand that once they make a commitment, that they continue with that commitment. And we have found that many students who stay, despite their pleas to be removed, after a few months, they really begin to like the class. So we definitely want to recommend students to be able to take time to really think about which strand that they would like to take a part of and commit to for 2 years. There will be a Google form that will be sent to families and to your child, and you'll have an opportunity to rate on a scale of 1 to 4 the strand that they would like to be in. There is a possibility that your child may be in their 2nd or their 3rd choice. We would try our very best for them to be in their 1st choice, but this is why we ask the child to rate, because when they're rating, then they're also taking ownership and buying in of the process. We will also share additional information about rentals, like renting instruments, once you have received a letter from me confirming their musical strand for the next 1 or 2 years. Okay, quickly, just going into summer independent work skills. These are very, very important. So these are known as the kind of the self-help skills that I call in kindergarten in 1. And so these are just a few things. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but you can see them and you'll be able to have the recording so you can go over them. But definitely following multi-step directions. It's very important that students are able to dress independently. So they're able to put on their shoes. They're able to practice turning their sweatshirts and their coats right side and inside out. Preparing food independently. Every student at the school comes to school with a snack. And so we ask that every student, from our littlest Huskies to our oldest students, that they are able to pack it, they're able to take their food out and able to put it back in their backpack, and also able to open up those fruit cups. Opening up the snack packs and the Go-Gurts and the string cheese. We really want to make sure that they're not spending the majority of the time trying to open their snack, but they're able to eat it as well. Working on those fine motor skills. So, playing with Play-Doh, with the Legos, writing color with the golf pencils, the small pencils, or broken crayons. This is very, very helpful for the motor skills. Practicing writing their name, make it fun. They can write it in paint, write it in sand, they can stamp it, or even, be able to spell it out with the Play-Doh. Doing chores, and most importantly, making sure that they know their emergency information. This is very helpful. I know some of you are probably saying, well, it's already listed in, on file, and it is, and we do have access to that, but it's always very helpful to help the students starting to have a familiarity of their phone numbers and also their parents' names. Not to say it has to be memorized, because we're talking about our little huskies here, but starting helping them to understand how well they need to know their emergency information if we need it at a moment's notice. Independent work for grades 2 through 6. Again, tying shoes, multi-step directions. Now we're going into planning and setting goals, developing organizational skills. Self-advocacy is probably the number one here. If I had to highlight one, I would definitely highlight self-advocacy. We want to build that muscle as early as possible. So anytime a student needs help, we want them to feel comfortable asking for that help with their teacher. They can do this through an email. They can do it through write it on a Post-it note, or talk to their teacher before school. A great way to prepare for this is to have your child go with you, like for dinner, and have them order at the restaurant. It'll give your child the money so they can give it to the cashier. This is an example of some examples of how you can incorporate self-advocacy. Problem solving opportunities as well is very helpful, along with, mindfulness and really developing a growth mindset. It's very important for children to understand that everything is not going to come easy. And if they hit a roadblock, it's okay. But what type of mindset do they incorporate when they hit that roadblock is incredibly critical. Are they going to have a fixed mindset, and are they going to deter from the roadblock because they don't want to deal with it? Or are they going to implement a growth mindset? And that is to be able to push through, regardless of how it feels, because they know in the end they're going to learn. And that's what we want to incorporate and encourage our students to do. Again, I told you this tile is going to be your best friend, so make sure you check on it as much as possible. Who to contact over the summer. So here's our information. This is my information. Robin Nichols, the director. Megan Dara is our assistant director. And the wonderful Donna Holliday, who keeps this ship afloat, is the assistant to the director and assistant director of the lower school. If you have any questions for us, you contact us anytime, and we will definitely make time in our day to answer questions for you. Thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure going through these slides with you. Again, I want to welcome you to the Flint Hill community. We are so very happy to have you. You're going to see, and I know you had a snapshot during the admission presentation of the wonderful place Flint Hill is, especially the lower school, but we're going to knock your socks off in August, and we are so excited and happy to have you here. Again, if you have any questions for me or any questions for any member of our team, please feel free to reach out to us anytime. And as we say in the lower school, toodles. Have a wonderful evening.